Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Autism and Doctor Who series. Today I'm joined with Chris, where me and him went to college together, so it's been a while since we last spoke. So Chris, thank you for coming on today.
No problem.
Yeah. So do you want to do an introduction of yourself? Just say a little bit about you.
My name's Chris. Like Mason said, I went to college with him and I really like sci-fi and history.
Yeah. Yes. With like because I feel like sci-fi and like history kind of stuff kind of links into autism, doesn't it? Because like you get really like attached to it and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Have you always been like that you like sci-fi and stuff?
Ah, since I was a wee lad.
Um, so with Doctor Who, like we talked before about like we liking the dark side of things, like when David Tennant got really dark and stuff. Like, why do you think you like that side of things?
Well, because I think it's more linked to the history of the Doctor that he was involved in like the Time War, and through that you're not going to be always be like a happy chappy, are you?
No.
I think it just makes him a bit more, well, him or her, a bit more grounded and realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, because I felt he got really selfish, didn't he, towards the end? Um,
Yeah.
like the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. Which was different because didn't really see that from him. He was almost like that kind of caring person, wasn't he? And then he felt like he didn't really care at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's not. I think every doctor gets like that, don't they? Well, most probably do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Um,
One of
what would you
another
say?
thing about getting all dark and gritty is I really like it because of like the villains, because you're not always going to have like a over the top this plot. It's it's quite interesting, especially when they make a villain likable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice when you have those one-off kind of villains, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I think you got like the Vash and Narada, or like that. I like them. I did. I just, um, like you had the Silence as well, like with Matt Smith's Doctor. Um,
Yes.
they were I was they were pretty scary. Um, but like it'd be
Sorry, who were?
nice, like the Silence. You remember the Silence from Matt Smith, like where you would forget them. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. um, yeah, but yeah, they were forgettable. um, like, is there any like any like do you have like a favorite monster at all, or just like them all?
I'd have to say I quite like the concept of Prisoner Zero, one that can shapeshift and blend in. Because I reckon they could have got a bit more out of it, or the species,
Hmm.
because it could be a whole thing of, oh, maybe there could be a few more of them that was never noticed, and sort of more like a puppeteering from the shadows sort of thing.
Yeah, because that was a really nice story because we didn't really know who they were really. Um, like Prisoner Zero, and like they can go into human form as well. So I feel like that episode was really nicely done. The that one. I did
Especially
actually like
like,
Midnight. Do you remember Midnight with David Tennant where you couldn't see the monster?
yes,
They were good.
it's always good when you can't see a monster because of the way the human mind works. Because your mind will play upon your biggest fears, and that will be your own version of a monster until it is inevitably revealed.
Yeah. Really good acting though, wasn't it? Because you had to really copy every at a specific moment what they were saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really good. Did like when you watched David Tennant as the Doctor, did you realise till like later on that he was Scottish? Because it was hard, you couldn't see he was Scottish when he was actually on.
I couldn't actually tell until I saw like a interview.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a second.
it was. I didn't even know, but I found out that he had to change his name. I think to do acting in the UK because he just like he wasn't even called. He wasn't, his surname I think was changed and stuff. So that was pretty interesting. Um, is there like, do you still watch it now, Chris? Like Doctor Who and stuff?
Um, I wasn't a massive fan of. Well, I sort of stopped after Jodie Whittaker's first series because I didn't really like the writing of it.
Hmm.
It just because it was like to me it got a bit more political, and I'm not a massive fan of politics.
Yeah.
Because but my favorite episode was like the Rosa Parks one.
Yeah, I did
However,
like that one.
I wasn't a fan of the villain. They were a bit too generic and like 2D.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it? Because you kind of even though I think the Doctor Who villains should be scary, um, but they're
They're not all
not.
going to be like hits.
No, like oh, I think I watched on from series 11 only because just to see what it was like, and series 11 didn't have any storyline, did it? Like it's all separate episodes. Um, and
Yeah.
series 12 did have kind of a little bit of a storyline, um, but it wasn't a very good one. Um, and then it just seemed all rushed though, all the episodes, really.
I would also like to see like a bit more done with like time, because you could have it so like the Doctor could go back to like proper like when like World War One, or when war started to get industrialized, and you
Mm.
could reveal like the sheer futility of it.
Yeah, yeah. They could actually do a story about COVID, couldn't they? Like go in the future when
Yeah.
COVID was stopped or something. Like kind of doing the event actually happening now.
Or they could even do like a sort of time paradox thing where one of them have it, but they don't realize it, go back in time, and then they could say that that ended up being like one of the sources or something like that.
Yeah, there's so much they could do, like with more history kind of things, um, rather than just all on. It's more on land, on Earth, and what's happening now. Nowadays,
Yeah.
it's
Because
and yeah,
the thing about history is it's very bizarre. You could get some like really funny stories, you can get some really horrendous stories, and you can get somewhere in between.
yeah. Like, do you think you'll watch it like next year, like when the Doctor moves on to the next person?
Oh, I definitely will give it a go. I usually do.
Yeah, because you've got filming at the moment, haven't you? Like with David Tennant and that, um, all coming back. Donna as well. So it looks good. at the moment.
See, I've tried not to hear too much about it, so it's not really spoiled.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to back in 2005 and stuff. You didn't have to really, like, you'd kind of be surprised, but
Yeah.
not now.
Especially like the first reveal of the Slovenes. Am I saying that right? Oh,
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've watched that episode where it's like the subjection of like, oh, you think it's the pig one, but then all of a sudden it's all the PMs revealing themselves. And I remember seeing that being like, what?
yeah. But then that was actually a pretty scary episode, like the Slovene ones.
Because it's a very of who among us might be one of them sort of thing. I really like quite mystery as well.
Yeah. I'd like to see Slovene back because you haven't really seen them since then, really, in Doctor Who.
The only time after that series where I really remember seeing the Slovene was Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had like a good story to the Slovene and the Sarah Jane Adventures. Yeah, yeah, they did some good stories in there, didn't they? Like I think they had um young Slovenes as well.
Oh, they even had Suntarans.
Yeah, the Sontarans looked different, didn't they? Though, in the Sarah Janes and Doctor Who, a little
Yeah.
bit. Um, I do miss the Sarah Janes, like after she passed away, like Elizabeth Slater. Um, it was good. Like, what do you think of Torchwood?
I didn't really get to see much of it. I was at a boarding school, so of course I didn't get much pick of the telly.
Yeah. How come you was at a boarding school?
Well, the school I used to go to, primary school,
Hmm.
couldn't help me with my autism, like get a grasp of it.
Yeah.
And I found it infuriating. So I used to like flip tables and everything. So I got expelled. So did two of my friends, had the same problem. They were the year below me, I believe. And we ended up going to a special school that's specialized in people with autism and tried to make sure they could understand themselves and be
Hmm.
able to function in the world without being on any of the medications of that.
And was that all right? You going to special school?
I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's similar to me because I went to mainstream. I went there for a year, then transferred to a special school. And via that special school, they had actually a college. And before I joined the college that we were both at, um, I was there, but I knew quite a lot of the people, so I was more confident that because I wasn't beforehand. Um, I was more confident, and then transferred, and then yeah, it kind of went from there. But yeah, I think a special school it's very hard to get into though, but it's really good. It helps. Yeah. Um. Yes. Because they can't understand you, don't they? There.
Yeah, and it because all of us students were going through like a similar thing of like missing our parents and all that. especially when you got into like you've been there for a few years, you started to feel like a bit of a massive family,
Hmm.
and like the old ones would always help the younger ones, especially when they felt a bit left out in that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's great.
Well, was it like the school? Was that quite far away from you where you lived then?
Yeah, the school had to provide me with a taxi journey to get there.
Hmm. Yeah, because I did get kind of a minibus when I went to special school. Not when I went to a mainstream. That's the difference. Like, they actually supply transport where a mainstream school didn't. Um, so it is easier. So it kind of feels like you're just not. Your parents are not taking you out all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, but although there are really good things about like everything, every school, even a special school, there's still got to be some like not so good things as well. Like you may get sometimes a teacher doesn't understand a certain thing the way you're trying thinking it, and everything. Did, how was you about like asking for help and things, Chris? Like at school?
well, because I'm the youngest out of three siblings, I always wanted my sort of independence. I really struggled with asking for help, especially because, you know, it was an all boys school, and I thought, if I ask for help, will they see it as a sort of sign of weakness, and will they like mock me for it and that sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean because I felt like that. I felt like if it was like a maths or English piece of work, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I didn't want people to see me like in a different way. Like you say, like you're weak, like you feel like you're dumb about that certain thing. But then you realise you don't have to be smart at that because you can be smart at other things that you actually wanna and like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could speak to Doctor Who to people for probably all day. um, even if I don't like it at the moment, I'll still talk about it when it was good. Yeah, but is there um is there things in like sci-fi, like what other sci-fi things have you liked to watch?
I like Star Wars, especially because it was based off old like well, the Empire was based off of Germany in not 1930s onto 1945, especially the naming of the main forces, the stormtroopers, or the stormtruppen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from World War One.
Yeah, you yes, Star Wars is really good like that. Um, like what what do you think of like the last few films that there's been out, like the last three?
Uh, I sort of didn't really think about them that much. I thought they were just good, like cinematic pieces, like especially visually,
Mm.
like the part where they fire up Star Killer Base and you see the red glow slowly traveling.
Oh yeah,
I thought that bit was a bit gorgeous.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I do like Star Wars. Like I like when they bring all these kind of films into games as well, like like uh, like and stuff. Like I remember like Star Wars Unleashed when I was younger. It's one of the games. And now bringing Lego, quite a lot of Lego into Star Wars games and stuff.
yeah. They just released what's it, Skywalker Saga?
Yeah, yeah, they did. Yeah. Um, I would like Doctor Who to have something like that because the games that have been recently released, like last year or two, haven't been good, really.
Because what's it? Was it CBBC used to have all the Doctor Who games on the website?
Yeah, there used to be a website. like I think you had one where it's a Christmas one where you could play like do the things that it's like you could really real like I think there was a grass one where the David Tennant and you could do things on the computer and control them. That's pretty cool. But
I think
mhm.
the one I really enjoyed was David Tennant one where, or it was either David Tennant or Christopher Eccleston, and it was one where you'd travel through time and you had to try and find one one particular alien and you had to track him across the time.
Oh yeah, I think that's what it was. Um, it was really I used to I like when they did like the Top Trumps Doctor Who game as well. Like you could it's like you're playing like a card. So they did have good ones, but not as much nowadays. Like they had the Weeping Angel one where I think that was on your phone. Edge of Time.
Oh, is that the one that was sort of like you'd walk around and you'd use your camera?
Um, yeah, I think it was like I actually thought it was going to be like that when it was actually released. I thought you can go around like Pokemon Go has. You go around and finding the Weeping Angels or something, but it wasn't. It was just like a phone game where you would like a choices game. Um, but I would like to see a game like that. They also had the Edge of Reality, the Edge of Time, where it was an okay game, but I didn't like that you couldn't jump in it. Like it was annoying that you can't jump in the game. It was really glitchy though. An okay game, but I would like a Lego game. I think Lego would be good for Doctor Who. Their own Lego game, not like that in the past they've had on another game Lego characters.
Is it Lego Dimensions? It was.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, it was. Yeah, um, I think that they need to, considering Doctor Who's been around nearly 60 years.
it's a massive piece of pop culture, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it's been around a long time um, before a lot of programs. Um,
Yeah.
and you would think it would get more games and stuff, considering there's only probably a season a year nowadays, and the odd episode. But yeah, it would be nice because you get Star Wars um, games and stuff, but they are getting owned by Sony now, Doctor Who. So who knows? They might get some more good things coming out.
Is hoping.
Yeah, because they're getting people back who were first there when they started it. Well, New Who started in 2005, so who knows? I think Doctor Who game would be the best option for them, um, unless they did one of those cinematic games where it's actually they actually acts well. It's like a film, and then you make your own choices or something.
Sort of like Man of Medan and Until Dawn sort of game.
Yeah, it could be like that, or like where you know, like you get those film like similar to films where you make your own choice where they go, um, similar to Man of Medan and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be good to get those kind of games um, and that kind of stuff. But do you have like a favorite? Do you have any episodes that you think back? I really like that episode in Doctor
Um, I'd have to say the episode where they first uncover the Cyberman in the reboot,
Who. Yeah.
or the episode at Canary Wharf, just because of the memes out of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Cybermen and Dalek memes.
Oh yeah. That that was a really good episode because you never get Daleks and Cybermen against each other.
It,
Yeah.
it was good because it was sort of like Godzilla versus Kong in a way.
Yeah, it was.
It was two massive enemies of the Doctor finally going at it. It was great.
I think they should do some more stuff like that. What other ones could you do? Because they're the two main ones. Or I got a good one. Do the Vasudharada and the silence, because you can't see the Vasudharada really, and you forget the silence. So that would kind of be a good story.
I was thinking also possibly like the Martian Ice Warriors or is it Solarians, which are the people that are underground, like the lizard?
Oh yeah, that's them.
Because it'd be like sort of interesting to see how they would react to like the Martians out of their suits, sort of like in that episode where they were on the Russian nuclear submarine.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Like they've only appeared very few times, like what I've seen, as well.
I must admit, I found it quite funny when they did the British Empire on Mars.
Yeah, that was quite funny. Like it, I think you like the clockwork creatures from um
From space.
like the ones from the fire, the girl in the fireplace against the like Peter Capaldi's first episode had that, like the one's deep breath where you had to hold your breath against them, or otherwise they move. It would be nice, even though the girl in the fireplace ones are really weak. It would be nice because they're similar designs, for them to go against each other. I think they should do more like that, more than one villain in an episode.
Yeah, and it could sort of like a mousetrap thing you could do where like the villains not only go against the Doctor, but they're also trying to do each other over so that they can get the Doctor out of the way.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would like whenever they start this new Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, it's going to be interesting for him because I would like him not to have a companion right at the start. I would like him to have a fair few episodes without one. Kind of saying, because I'm not used to that, not used to having the companion straight away. Aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like let's speak about like the dark side of the Doctor. It's very interesting when the Doctor is dark because with the Doctor at the moment, Joe Whittaker, you haven't really seen the dark side of her at all.
No.
And because she has Yaz as a companion, if Yaz doesn't die or something, I'll be really shocked because Doctor is kind of a death kind of thing, isn't it? Like someone has to die from each incarnation of the Doctor. It's the kind of a thing.
Because there's another quite dark bit. I believe it was Peter Capaldi and is it Zorgon? The like shapeshifters.
Oh yeah, Zygons.
That's it, Zygons.
Yeah.
Where he gave that speech about ending the civilization.
Hmm.
That
oh yeah, I remember that. It's quite relatable actually, isn't it? Like to what's happening now, like in the world.
Yes.
Like it was a really good speech. And it was like about 6 minutes long as well.
Because was it a sort of like a continuation from Day of the Doctor, if I remember correctly, when how they actually got into unit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because there was a button. There was a button there, and there was a button for that episode you're talking about. That was that speech. So yeah, and like they don't press it and stuff like that. Like I think that's the thing with Doctor Who. It kind of relates to things that are happening now, like real life and stuff. Like like with an episode called the Hungry Earth, which was actually that episode 12 years today. And the funny thing about that episode is that episode was actually set in where they were. It was in 2020, and it was really interesting when it was 2020 because it's almost like, oh look, it's 2020 now. That episode is here.
It's sort of like, oh great, here's another thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, and they predicted something I think in 2020, and it did happen. So it wasn't great.
It's like, can't someone just study in peace?
Yeah. Yeah, I do like things in the future though. I would like to see more things in the future than rather the past, because
But
that would be interesting.
I think it's a lot easier to get away with something from the past if you have the right sources.
Yeah,
Because obviously, if you do something in the past, you want to make sure it's all historically accurate to like not cause offense to anyone who's like possibly was involved or descendants from people involved in it.
yeah, yeah. Because I think with the Night Doctor, he did a really like with, I think it was World War Two. I think it was. They did that the gas mask kids. They keep saying mummy.
Are you my mummy?
Yeah, are you my mummy? Oh, that was a really scary episode, especially this scene, you know, when the professor turns into the gas mask creature. Um, um, I'm surprised that he let that go on screen.
Have you seen what children were issued as gas masks in America during that time?
No.
So they had Mickey Mouse gas masks and they were absolutely terrifying.
Oh dear.
And I reckon if they'd used one of them, it could have been a bit more like eerie.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can get a picture up for you.
Okay.
World War Two.
Because that was because I think people watching it, you would actually think they're actually attached to their skin.
Yes. Just been gone to Snapchat and send it to you.
Okay. Let's have a look. Right. So this is it.
Yeah.
To anyone watching, this is what the Mickey Mouse one looks like, and yeah, that is what. So people were wearing these in America at the time.
Well, that it's a World War Two gas mask that was designed for children.
Okay.
No, because I wanted it to be friendly, so the children weren't afraid.
That
I reckon if I saw that, I'd be more afraid of that than a normal gas mask.
yeah, it is. But it's pretty scary, and it was that was good. I like when I do those two-part episodes in Doctor Who because it makes it more interesting. Like even in the middle of a series, there are a two-part episode that is continuation of another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they've done that a few times. But yeah, that I didn't know that, Chris, that they were doing that. Yeah. Did you is there any Doctor incarnations that you've watched that you're not that like fond of or you don't really like?
Well, I wasn't really a fan of Jodie Whittaker's one, but that's not to do with her. That's to do with how I feel the direction of the writing went.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the same. It's very different because I think music plays a big part, and I don't think the music has like with Murray Gold, for example. Murray Gold's music was awesome, and I listened to it all the time. But he left when like near enough, quite a lot of people left, didn't they? Like the showrunner, music composer, all of them when Jodie comes along, and it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what about Peter Capaldi? What do you think of Peter Capaldi?
I quite liked him because it's sort of like I could get the idea that he was involved in the Time War by like how he acted. He wasn't an overly happy one. He was sort of serious.
Yeah.
However, I did like his axe battle
Yeah, his axe battle was pretty cool.
where he turned up on like a Challenger 2 tank.
Yeah, he had some really good moments, Peter Capaldi. I kind of felt his best. They got the best out of him in his last series. Um, I felt because I kind of tell he was really shy at the start. How his voice was different as well. Um, in the first series. Um, what about Matt Smith? What do you think of Matt Smith?
Matt Smith's one of my favourites, I must admit, because one time I went to like a Doctor Who show
Mm.
and up in the balcony seats was Matt Smith and Catherine Tate.
Catherine Tate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of like current Doctor and past companion.
That'd be interesting. That'd be quite funny actually if they worked together, like in Doctor Who.
Well, especially with Donna being all
Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you what, Matt Smith would work well with Jodie Whittaker because she's quite chirpy and funny, like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Um, quite does a lot of jokes, and Matt Smith does that too. Um, but the different we haven't really seen her like angry. Well, yeah, she's been angry, but not really.
like
Um,
human.
yeah, not like fuming like you've seen with Matt Smith and stuff. Um, well, so would you say he's it's with David Tennant? Like, so what do you think of him?
He, he's like him and Christopher Eccleston are like my top two,
Top two.
just because like they can be happy and then in a pin drop just dead faced. Like
Yeah, like like I really like Christopher Eccleston. Only because he was my first Doctor, but I still like him.
same
Um,
here.
yeah, the probably reason why he's up there. Even it doesn't matter how many seasons you do; it matters how they perform. Um, like I like all of it. Maybe the odd one or two wasn't my favorite episode in the series. Like you had the ghost one. I think when Charles was there or something.
Yeah,
Um,
Charles Darwin wasn't it?
yeah,
No,
the, the,
was it?
Dickinson. I think it was Charles.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and that one wasn't great. I don't really like that one. Um, um, that was probably one of the only ones. That there might have been others, but um. Oh yeah, I didn't like the one where you click your fingers and the eye thing like it opens up like a on your forehead.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
Well, yeah. When I was younger, I was saying to mum and dad, "Is it? If I click my fingers, is it gonna happen to me as well?" you, you click away
Quick,
stuff.
quick!
Yeah.
I'm a wink at you.
Yeah. Although the end of the episode is quite funny, where the Ninth Doctor was keep like that other guy he's keep doing that to him, and he's getting annoyed about it. and then his mum saw it. So yeah, like there are the odd episodes that aren't great in some of the really good Doctors, but they have also a lot of good episodes too.
I must admit, like my top favorite episode would have to be David Tennant's first one once he's regenerated. Like
Oh yeah.
where he's stuck in the bed, and then of course, he gets given Jackie's latest Mister's robe.
Gets the apple in it. Oh, I think it
Yeah,
was an apple.
yeah, Apple and Satsuma,
Yeah.
and then that because that Satsuma, or can't remember which one he threw, is like Chekhov's gun. You can't show something without using it later. So,
Yeah.
like, if you show a gun in a play, you can expect someone to like get shot some point later in it, whether it's by accident or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially that line of "no more second chances."
Yeah. Like, because did he think did you think Crystal Eccleston gave anyone a second chance, like during the season?
Didn't he give one to is it Cassandra, the last remaining human?
Yeah, might have. Yeah, because I think he might have let her live.
And then it wasn't until like the space station where she finally kicked the bucket, wasn't it?
Yeah, and um, yeah, and then she was in one of David Tennant's for a second episode. It was the first episode of his first series. Um, but I've got to say that the episode you was talking about, like his robe and everything, that was the best Christmas special. There was, and it was the first as well. Yeah, and I do like New Earth. I think it was New Earth that episode with Cassandra again. Um, and
Yeah,
it's quite funny.
she possessed Rose, didn't she? And then didn't she possess the Doctor?
Yeah, like she went into Rose at one point, then the Doctor, and then to some guy called Chip, who was his servant, her servant. But yeah, it's really interesting. Like like the face of Bo they had as well. He was interesting. I didn't really understand the story with him though, who he was actually, because they didn't really explain who the face of Bo was.
What? Because didn't I think it ended up being like Captain Jack or something they were
Yeah,
hinting at.
yeah, they
Because
didn't see anything afterwards. Why it was Captain Jack?
because he said something about my greatest masterpiece, the face of Bo.
Yeah,
And then you see the Doctor sort of put it all together, and then that's where they sort of left it.
hmm, yeah. The face of Bo was it. That's really good, and I liked it that at the end of I think the Utopia episode where they found out the Master, who was the Master, the face of Bo said, "You are not alone," meaning that you're not alone, not the last Time Lord.
Yes. Who's your favourite master then?
Um, I do like John Sim, but I also like the one with Jodie, primarily because he has Crohn's like me, so he's the master. But I don't have one I don't like. I even like Missy. I think Missy was a really good
Yeah,
incarnation.
I quite liked her sort of carefree, playful attitude,
Yeah.
because I think her little bit of chemistry with like Peter Capaldi was quite good.
Yeah. That they were. And I do think if they'd want to cast the Master as a woman again, I think they should call it the Master. Just saying that Michelle Gomez who played Missy can still come back or something. Just not change it just because of the gender. Like because you wouldn't change the Doctor because the Doctor's a woman now, isn't she? You wouldn't have called her a different name because she's changed.
I think it's to do with like the gender associated with titles. Like the Doctor can be male or female, but Master is tend to be given to like a man, and then it's Mistress, which tends to be female, which is why it's Missy, Mistress.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think it would be good if it is a woman, because I think it would make sense. Like you could have a master version of a woman incarnation and someone called Missy, so you have one of each maybe. Or
Yeah.
knowing that they're going into politics now, we most likely will probably get we've got like a transgender new character coming on for next year, but like they're gonna go more into like that kind of things, like because you now got you've had the woman doctor and now we're back to a man, which I feel it should be like kind of diverse, so changing it up at like every 5 years or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like would you say is Missy your favourite master then? Would you say?
I'd have to say she's well, because I didn't really watch the Jodie Whittaker one, so I don't really remember a lot of that master.
Yeah.
But I think she's one like that I remember the most.
Do you remember John Sim with David Tennant?
Yes, but because I was quite a bit younger when I last saw those episodes, I don't remember him quite as well. Because I remember him being very serious and genocidal.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of actually relate the Jodie Whittaker's master to him a little bit. And because Missy died, didn't she? At the end, and it was very confusing because they didn't say if there's new master after Missy somehow, or is he uh beforehand? Because it would make more sense if it was maybe after John Sim's master, because he's very similar in a way. He's always like you say, he's
Like,
very destructive.
sort of like the evolution of the characters in you believe it goes John Sim, the Jodie Whittaker master, and then Missy.
Yeah, yeah, because he's really similar. Like he's really he plays games with Jodie's master, not Jodie's master, Jodie's doctor, because he's really similar. But he's coming back for the Jodie's last episode, but he did get killed. But he's coming back for the last episode, so um there's I think it's got to be before, because if it was after after Missy, you would need there's lots of questions why it would be after her. But whatever Doctor Who is, the Master's also will come back.
Yeah.
That's always going to happen. Yeah. Do you remember like with one of David Tennant's last episodes, the Waters on Mars episode?
Isn't that the one where the water was like turning people into sort of zombies?
Yeah, yeah, it was, and you couldn't drink the water or touch it.
I forget why that was.
Yeah, because they they were growing their own water and stuff, and I think it was to do with that. I don't know. It was either the water was dirty or it was infected from some plant or something. And I was actually pretty scared of that when I was younger, because I was like, I'm not drinking the water. I can't drink the water.
Yeah.
Because that stuff happens, and that was actually quite good. Stuff was actually impact people like that. At that age, like you had that one, you had a doll episode with Matt Smith.
Oh, that one gave that. That's like the one episode that actually gave me a nightmare.
that was, but that was scary. That was. Didn't really have maybe the Peter Capaldi, the one under the bed um episode, where you always think that someone's under your bed when you're asleep. I can't remember what it was called, but you had those kind of episodes.
And then there was also the one where it's like the woodlouse are in the wall sort of thing, and you just hear a knocking.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, it was, and then oh no, oh yeah, do you remember the Ood with I think Matt Smith, and then a human turned into an Ood.
Yes,
That was
it was like
yeah, I do
because
like the Ood though.
that one with the woodlouse in the walls.
Hmm.
Did you know that on iPlayer they did like a stereo version where if you wore headphones, the sound would travel to each ear.
Oh really?
I tried it and I was like, nah, mate.
Yeah, that was scary. Like um, I think like each Doctor has, other than, well, actually Jodie Whittaker had spiders, which people don't like spiders, but I wouldn't know if you class that as a monster.
Yeah, what was it?
Giant spider.
It was called Spiders of something, wasn't it?
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, people are scared. Lots of people are scared of spiders, so they think, oh, I'll make people scared. But I don't think that was a good idea because that'll probably make people not to watch it now.
Mhm.
From that, but yeah, it'd be nice to have new monsters, old monsters like the Slovene in the future episodes.
Well, it definitely. I want to see more K9
Yeah,
because I want to know what happened to him after Sarah Jane.
there is there is a chance that he might come back for Jodie's last episode because people from an old classic era are coming back, and they I think they were with K9 as well. Like Joe from Sarah Jane,
Yes,
she's rumored to go back into it because Ace and Tegan are coming back that were in Classic Who. But so is Joe. I think Joe was along the lines with Sarah Jane, so possibly K9 could come back.
because K9 was always my favourite Doctor Who companion because he was sort of a companion, but he was also like not always in it.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't allowed pets growing up, so I had like a little remote control K9, and that was like the closest thing I had.
Oh yeah. I had that too. It's pretty fun. Like you just control him and stuff.
And then like the laser would come out his mouth, and
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, like you just had good stuff like that. Um they should do if they wanna, like if he had just one more appearance or he could somehow come back, like they could even do an updated version or updated like module of him.
Because I know in Sarah Jane, the reason well, they explained he wasn't around because he was stopping the entire Earth from getting sucked into a black hole,
Huh.
which is why, like, when she opened a cupboard thing, you could see K9 in the black hole, and
Did
then he'd only
yeah.
pop out like very quickly and then go back in.
Was he quite in a lot of episodes of Sarah Jane?
Um, he would have like an appearance every now and then.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a lot of appearances, but he had a few.
Because the one he was in Doctor Who, I think he was in about twice. Like that, they showed him to the Doctor in that school episode with
Oh,
Sarah
we
Jane.
because he was also in the originals as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had him in, I think, Journey's End, where him and Mr. Smith helped out with with that. So yeah, they've had it'd be nice to see him back to K9.
Still my ultimate favorite character.
Yeah, like growing up, mine was Rose. I did like Rose as a character, companion. I mean Rory. Wilfred is always going to be up there with one of my favourites.
Yeah, Wilfred's like one of the best altogether.
Yeah, he's one of the best Wilfred.
Like, My favourite moment of him is where he just whips out a paintball gun and shoots a Dalek in the telescope.
And then I think Rose has a good gun, and he's like, "Do you want to swap?"
It's like, parry that, you filthy casual.
Yeah, yeah. She did change though, Rose, in that moment, because she would never have a gun or anything when she was the companion. So,
Because
mm,
that episode was when we really started to like get the Bad Wolf arc, because you heard about it, but it was because what was it? Was it her who absorbed some of the TARDIS?
yeah, it was. I think at the time that the Bad Wolf was a kind of a thing in series 1 for a while, and then it was on and off within David's era, and then they bring back in the 50th. They bring back Rose Tyler, well, Billy Piper as the Bad Wolf, but we never really got an answer to any of the storyline on that one.
Yeah, I never really understood why it's Bad Wolf.
You don't know what Bad Wolf means.
Yeah.
Maybe Russell, who's come back, might have resolved that or something. But there's storylines after that like that still need resolving. But who knows? Maybe get a few more sideshows.
He's hoping.
Yeah, gotta hope. Let's hope for that. Well, Chris, before we go, because it's been great to spend like Doctor Who and autism with you, and nice catch up as well.
Good to talk to you again,
Yeah.
my friend.
Yeah. Is there like a quote that you relate to in Doctor Who at all?
Mine would have to be no second chances.
Yeah. It's one of the first within New Who. Yeah, like no second chance. I'm not a sort of a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he throws his orange and then gets him down.
Mate, he falls off.
Yeah, mate, you fall off. Like the Sycorax that'd be enough one to go. A good one to come back as well. But yeah. Well, thanks, Chris. It's been great to speak to you, and it's been great fun.
You too, Mason.